Shema! Welcome back to Beyond Borders.
Welcome back to the channel. We are super excited to be back with another video, delving a bit into the whole political safety aspect of Poland. We've done a couple of videos now that is a bit different to what we normally do, a bit different from the travel, a bit different from the food and the culture, and focusing a little bit more on the political aspect of Poland, which I think is also important because it's what a lot of people bring up in our comments, and it's what a lot of people speak about when we talk about Poland. So we thought, let's try and, bring a couple of those videos into this channel and get the thoughts of what our viewers are thinking. It's interesting to read the comments of what...
Yes, very interesting. And so this video is about the safety. So, from what we've heard and what we understand, Poland is very safe. A lot safer than a lot of European cities and countries.
But not only because it's what we've heard. We've actually been to Poland a few times now. We've actually experienced it for ourselves of how safe the country is. How have you felt being there?
No, absolutely. I've never felt unsafe. We've walked around at night in the streets and in crowded places. Never felt uneasy or unsafe. So yeah, I can't complain. It's really, I
think a big reason why it's become such a topic of debate, especially the past couple of months or past year or two, is because of the whole illegal immigration aspect, which we touched on in a couple of our videos that we've previously done, and how some people, or a lot of people, believe that there's a very strong correlation between illegal immigration and the safety aspects of Poland. So I think this is what this video will dive a bit into today, and see it from a different aspect.
Yeah.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Is Poland safe? Now, I think safety is everyone's number one consideration, whether you are looking for a new place to retire or maybe you're just looking for the perfect summer vacation spot for your family. Now, here specifically in Krakow, we have eaten our way through the market, we have shown you around the city, we've talked all about cost of living, but we haven't talked about safety. Today we want to break down safety in Poland into three different sections. The facts and figures, the statistics, kind of how you feel, your gut instinct about the place, in Russia.
I also think there's a big difference between going to the big cities like Krakow and Warsaw, and then going to the smaller towns. And a lot of people say, if you really want to feel, where the safety aspect is from a border conflict, you said you need to go to the towns either south or more east to kind of feel it. But the big towns, the big cities like this, is where a lot of illegal immigrants tend to flock to, because they hubs, and it's also where the centers are, where a lot of these guys try and look for work or try and get a package. So it's interesting to see. We've been to Szczecin and to Wrocław and now recently Poznan, and I didn't feel like there were a lot of people there that was making it unsafe, compared to the rest of the places that we've been to in Europe, where you've got this tendency of feeling a bit unsafe, and it's different to what it was 10 years ago. I don't feel like those cities, big cities, presented, any aspects that I felt unsafe.
Yeah, I don't think the people within Poland is a problem. Like you mentioned, there's no feeling of unsafety and all that, but he mentioned the three aspects, so we're going to obviously see the statistics, and then he mentioned Russia. And I think that is a big topic that probably should be discussed. Where would Poland stand if there were to be conflict with Russia? What would the position be, and what would safety be from a point of conflict?
I would feel super safe in Poland knowing that you've got a strong military to back you up. So from that aspect, I would feel super safe from a military perspective. I think I don't think there's another country in Europe where you want to be right now if there was war that was going to break out. Like Poland is pretty much, I mean, we've done a few videos on the military of Poland, and from that aspect, I think it's safe. And also, like you said, the Poles themselves are not the problem. Like, you feel safe. It's more illegal immigrants that don't have a necessarily good background, that are looking for ways to, support their life. And that is generally the problem in Europe when it comes to unsafety. And it's very sad, but I mean, let's see what the video says.
Now, just looking at the numbers of Poland by itself doesn't really give us or you a fair comparison to what it's like in other countries. So we wanted to compare it to the United States, the country that we were born in, the country we're from, Canada, our neighboring country, a country that is known to be very safe, and also the country that we've been living in for the last 6 years, Mexico. Starting with Mexico, this is the homicide rate per 100,000 people. The homicide rate in Mexico per 100,000 people is 26 out of 100,000. Like I said, that's a country we have lived in for the last 6 years, and it wouldn't be a place that we lived unless we felt like it was safe enough for us to live there. And we've traveled around the whole country, so we've felt like it's pretty safe. But compare that to the United States, which has a homicide rate of 6.52 per 100,000, so considerably less than Mexico. But then we moved to Canada. Now, the Canadians are proud, very proud of their safety, very proud of their country, as they should be. They have a homicide rate of 1.97, a third of the homicide rate that we have in the United States. But Poland, the homicide rate in Poland is 0.7. Not 1.7, not 5.7, 0.7, 0.7 per.
Yeah, that's impressive.
It is impressive, but it's so true what he says, in that you can have a high homicide rate, like for example they say in Mexico, but they feel safe. It's because there are bubbles that are created inside of these countries. Like for example, in the top 10 unsafest cities in the world, in South Africa, there's 3 countries that feature in that top 10 list globally. It's Cape Town, it's Johannesburg, and Pretoria. And I know that I think Cape Town next to Rio is one of the most unsafest cities, but having come from that area, or coming from South Africa, having traveled to Cape Town a number of times, I wouldn't say that it feels super unsafe. But if you had to go to certain areas in Cape Town, you are going to feel unsafe.
Yes, it's the areas where there's more poverty and more, as we mentioned and discussed this briefly in our previous video, you would, in every city, in every country, you would find areas where there's more poverty. It's a poorer area. And within those communities, some people just resort to violence, resort to theft, resort to joining gangs, as sometimes they feel there is no other option in life. So there are areas that are unsafe. But like he's mentioned, we would not have, lived there for 27 years if we felt so unsafe. So it is important to mention.
Bubbles, there are bubbles within countries, but I think from an aspect that he's talking about, that 0. Whatever rate now, 0.7, it's everywhere. You don't need to have bubbles in Poland.
Yeah,
and that's the crazy thing. Like, you'll obviously have some, I would say, unsafer neighborhoods, but in general, the country is super safe.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so amazing.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Per 100,000 people. Those are the numbers. Like I said, we felt safe in the United States. We felt safe in Mexico. We have never been to Canada, but you can't dispute the numbers.
Numbers and data are great. As an accountant, I love the cold, hard facts. But the truth is, only looking at numbers and data don't really paint a full picture as to whether Poland is safe or not. So the second sort of pillar that I'd like to talk about is your Spidey sense. That's what I call your intuition, that feeling in your gut about whether you feel safe in a place. And really, I think we all know that feeling you get in the pit of your stomach, unfortunately, when you turn down a street, you're all by yourself, and maybe things feel a little off. And that, to me, is what I call my Spidey sense. And what do I base that on? I think you can base that on looking at your surroundings and deeming whether Poland is safe or not. Is the plaza busy or is it empty? Are there people out enjoying the time, having a great time, or does it feel a little bit off, perhaps a little deserted? Are there bars on the windows? Does it seem like shop owners and restaurant owners are worried about break-ins or petty theft or things like that? And I would like to say with full confidence that Poland feels extremely safe, according to my trusty Spidey sense.
I think a big thing as well that you can see in a city or, wherever you are, if it's a safe place or not, is definitely the amount of children that are without their parents outside.
Yeah, I think that sixth sense is not just the buildings and not just graffiti or not. There's so many aspects to it. It's the people, it's are there children playing outside, and it's the vibe it gives you. And I don't know, I think looks can sometimes be deceiving. That sixth sense is super important because I would say, like, for example, if I had to compare it to my life in South Africa, you constantly have that sixth sense aware of you because wherever you are, you need to be aware of your surroundings because at any time something could happen.
Yeah.
Whereas in Poland, you don't feel that sixth sense at all. Like, there's no need to stress. Like, I've never felt like holding the camera when we've been doing vlogging that someone's going to steal my camera, or sitting at a restaurant where you have your camera on the table or your purse or your handbag, like that it's going to get, snatched. I've never felt that in Poland. But when I say looks can be deceiving, it's that if you look at Berlin, where we live, aesthetically, it's probably not the greatest of looking cities.
Yeah,
Like,
it's pretty ugly.
it looks unsafe with the amount of dirt and graffiti that is around. But yes, there probably is neighborhoods that are not safe. But in general, even with the looks, it's relatively safe. And so looks could be a bit deceiving, but at the same time, looks are important, I think. And if you're going based just on looks of a city, Poland, like, everywhere is beautiful. Like,
Yeah.
the city centers are obviously the most beautiful section. You go out of them, obviously some areas become more industrial, but it still is upkept well. It's really a nice looking area that you don't feel, hey, I need to look over my shoulder all the time.
Mm-hmm. And also, like, hide your stuff or someone's gonna snatch your phone out of your pocket, and it's the reality. Like, I wonder if Poles ever feel unsafe, like if they know what it feels like to feel unsafe in their cities. Because I mean, obviously us, we come from South Africa, we're very guarded. We're raised and built basically with this guard up inside of us. Like, when we first arrived in Germany, it was so difficult to just, like, put your handbag on the table where you're dining and go walk away from the table to quickly get something from the bar. Or it's always a sense of, I need to look where my stuff is. I need to ensure that it's still there, or tie your handbag around a table, always ensuring your bag is somewhere where you can see it. Don't walk with your phone out in public. It's something that we grew up with, and we felt that was normal. And so I'm wondering, do you feel like that level of safety is normal? And how do you experience leaving Poland? Like, is your guard always down, or do you understand that you have a very unique situation and that you should take precautions when leaving Poland? I'd love to understand that dynamic, because like I said, we have a natural wall built up. So do you have a natural wall that's down?
I think that it would be interesting to know what makes Poles feel unsafe. That's the first question. But secondly, I think not just Poles, but also Europeans, when they tend to visit more unsafer countries, they are almost ambiguous, which is a big English word, but
Oblivious.
oblivious. They are oblivious to the fact that there is unsafe things that you can encounter. So I think that's why Europeans that visit, like for example, South Africa, tend to put themselves in uncomfortable situations or get mugged because they think that they can do what they do here in Europe in SA, which you can't. Like walk around with your phone or walk around at night, or on the beachfront. You can't do those things.
Yeah, but even there's some places in Europe that you also can't do it.
Exactly, but there's a lot less places. In South Africa, it's almost everywhere. You don't walk on the beach at night.
Yes, I mean, that's sad, but it's true.
Yeah.
Quick disclaimer before we jump too far into this is that this is based on our experience in Kraków, Poland. We haven't really traveled much out of Kraków or really southern Poland. We are not war correspondents. We are not Ukraine/Russia specialists by any means. This is purely based on, one, some facts and figures, and two, our experience in Kraków, Poland. The short answer is we feel extremely safe in Poland. We don't feel like we're in any danger. We feel like it's safe to travel here. However, I will say there are definitely some things that make us feel uneasy, and Kraków does have some dangerous aspects to it. And we want to share those with you at the end of the video. Most people that are wondering if Poland is safe right now or not probably are thinking so in the context of Russia and Ukraine, because Poland is very close to Ukraine. It borders Ukraine. Let's keep in mind here, we're YouTubers. Not historical YouTubers, not news YouTubers. If you're coming to us for war information,
Abort.
it's your fault. I'm sorry. Here's my view, my slightly educated view on the situation with Poland and Ukraine/Russia, and is Poland safe right now as of the time of this filming. We feel very safe in Kraków.
As a tourist in Kraków,
Yeah.
everything seems as it would normally any other time. Again, I feel like this is with a million disclaimers.
Okay, but I think that is the general feeling, not just in Kraków, but in Poland. And also, disclaimer, we are not news, YouTubers or historical YouTubers, but Poland in general, like whenever we visited, like after the war had started, I have never felt unsafe from a war aspect.
Yeah.
Like ever. I mean, it's like if you know a bit of Poland military background, then you know where they currently stand, like that's the last thing I would worry about. Like their air defense systems, their land defense systems, their borders are so beefed up, I wouldn't feel unsafe.
Yeah. No, it's pretty nice to know that you're well defended in that country. Like you're looked after from a safety aspect. Like they'll put up a good fight.
I feel like if there was a war that had to break out, like obviously Poland would be, I think, very much at the forefront of it because they are close to Ukraine. So it would be a different aspect if they were actually in war. But as it stands and there's no war, and hopefully there never will be, it's good.
Yeah.
It's a different thing when, you've actually got people that are going out and on the walls and defending and on the borders. Like that's pretty crazy. It can, I don't know, it's a different aspect then.
Yeah.
I think most people's concern or fear with Ukraine/Russia is the unknown. It is all of the posturing. It is Russia saying they're going to do this and that. And with Poland being so close to Ukraine, fears about if things were to escalate beyond Ukraine, the proximity to Poland seems fearful to some, to many, especially almost the further away you are I feel like the scarier
Yeah.
it seems. My take, my view, and again, remember, YouTuber, not historian, not an expert, is that if things go beyond Ukraine, if things were to spill over into NATO countries, we're not safe. We're probably not safe in Texas, and we're probably not safe in Poland. And NATO countries, I guess what I'm trying to say is if things escalate beyond the borders of Ukraine, then I think everybody's safety across the whole world is probably
Jeopardized.
at question.
Changed.
It's changed. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
So, I feel just as fearful here in Kraków, Poland about the situation in Russia as I do if we lived in Dallas. That's my opinion. That is, again, not an expert. Haven't read everything about the war. Don't know everything about the war. That's just my opinion. I'm sure many people feel differently. But I'll go back to, there's people out here on scooters. There's people,
Dangering up the place.
there are people here having fun. There are people out getting drinks. There are people from the UK visiting here on holiday. On stag parties, we've been told they're called. There are lots of tourists here. So we are not the only ones that feel like the situation in Ukraine and Russia is not a threat currently as of this filming.
I think that, globally, it's also true. Like, if war had to break outside of where it's currently confined to, I don't think you're safe anywhere. But with the threat of nuclear war, it's just like, it's pretty scary. Like,
Yeah.
you wouldn't want to be in Europe because Europe is so close to the proximity.
I just want to probably go to the moon. Apparently, the safest country to be in the world in the event of nuclear war is New Zealand.
I heard it's South Africa.
No, it's not.
I thought I'm pretty sure I read an article somewhere that said that South Africa is
No.
one of the safest.
New Zealand.
Okay, New Zealand's probably the safest,
Yes.
but South Africa is one of the safest.
Well, it's not in the top 10.
Yeah, I don't know.
How can an unsafe country be the safest?
No, but there's different aspects of safety.
I understand.
There's crime safety,
But that's still
and then
unsafe.
there's global war.
Sure, you're not gonna, I don't know, you're gonna be fine from the ash clouds and whatever, but New Zealand's safe and it's gonna be safe.
So we should move to New Zealand.
And Iceland apparently as well.
There's volcanoes in Iceland,
Yeah, but there's no war.
but there's also volcanoes in New Zealand. Where are you safe?
Mars. No, apparently Mars is also not inhabitable. So
Just enjoy life.
just make peace, guys.
Make peace. Make love, not war.
Dangerous. Not dangerous. Dangerous. Dangerous.
Wow, you are very passionate. You stand up for very important scooter causes.
If I'm on the city council of your city, I am banning all scooters. Not if you own a scooter, cool. It's the stupid rental scooters.
Oh my gosh.
Don't get me wrong, here in probably 2 videos, in like 2 videos from now, we're gonna rent one,
Scooter tour.
and it's gonna be a lot of fun, and I'm gonna love it.
Before we got used to the public transport and all of that, we rented scooters all the time. We still do. It's such a nice way to quickly get from point A to point B, which is another thing that we for 27 years did not have. It did not exist in our country, at all.
I find the scooter aspect super cool
So cool.
because you can rent a scooter and just go anywhere. Like that whole concept, I don't think it works in a lot of places, but it works really well in Europe. The only thing that I will say is that it does take away from the beauty, aesthetically. There's a lot of scooters sometimes in the city center, and they're just everywhere. And then you can be but they're just everywhere and they're taking away if you want to take a photo, and there's scooters in the background. From that aspect, it's a bit.
Yeah, okay, they might be a little bit ugly, but so are cars.
I feel like if anything, they should probably just regulate the parking spaces of a scooter so that you can't park it anywhere.
That's the most annoying thing for me is you would find people that would literally park it in front of an entrance of a building or in the middle of the road or something like that. And that makes it unpleasant and it's inconsiderate.
Inconsiderate.
But I've committed to not liking the scooter, so I gotta go with it.
It's okay.
Ride or die.
It's okay. There you have it. Based on the data, the numbers, our spidey senses, and our opinions on the circumstances with Russia, we believe Krakow, Poland is indeed a safe place. Here's what's happening behind the scenes.
Why don't you feel the need to pan over here?
We have eggs and milk and bread because we're making tuna for dinner. That could also turn Krakow potentially dangerous.
I feel Poland in general is a safe country, not just Krakow. Period.
Greg.
See what I mean? Sometimes there's like 500 of those scooters at like a stop.
But it's a designated area.
Yeah, but those not like designated. Like there should be a parking space for them. Sometimes there's like 500 and it just clutters everything and makes a mess.
And especially because they're so bright green.
Yeah.
It's like, why can't they just be grey?
So dangerous. How did I do?
Dangerous. Look at that.
She just cut somebody off. Now you're making me hate scooters. I used to not have anything against scooters, and now I just feel so prejudiced against them, and I don't like it.
I think in general, like I said, Poland's safe. This video didn't really touch on like the illegal immigrant aspect, which many people believe is the reason why crime is slowly going up in Poland. But Poland's got a very good hand on it, and I don't think that they will allow their country to become unsafe.
No, never. No, overall, I mean, statistically you can see it, and it's just something that every person that visits Poland always feels the need to make a video about this, because clearly it's something that's big, it's huge, the safety. It's obviously something that you feel there that you don't feel in a lot of countries. So, and we felt it too. So it is safe. That's why we love it. I think maybe that's why we're so drawn to it, because we haven't felt like that level of safety before. So it's nice, and we're obsessed.
But let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Let us know if there's another video that we should potentially look at. Hit it down in the comments down below. I think that we are definitely going to be exploring a lot more videos other than just travel on this channel. So if there's anything that you think would be of interest that gets us to know Poland a bit better, then I think definitely, share it in the comments down below.
Yeah, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow us along our journeys. We have a lot of exciting things coming up that we can't wait to share.
Until next time, this is Beyond Borders.
Over and out.